Hi there, this is Sue at Miller's Laboratory. Nice to see you today. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be working on Roxy's weekly challenge number 12, where she used one of her straw paper cutlery packets to make a little accordion packet. Since I don't have any of those straw paper items that she has, I'm going to use this envelope for my first one. This is just a really nice, really large envelope that I managed to find and got a whole box of somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is like 10 1/4 inches long, so it's nice and long. And what we're going to do first is I'm just going to go ahead and glue it closed. And you've seen me do this before. It's nothing new. We're just going to run my art glitter glue, a really thin line of it, all the way across the very edge of the flap here. And then we'll also run a very thin line around the opening here. And that is to make sure that we don't have any flappy bits on the inside of our packet. We don't want anything for tags or things to get caught on. So I hope everybody's doing well today. I am having a nice weekend. Had a nice fun outing with some girlfriends yesterday. We really enjoyed it, and today is workshop day. So I have this envelope. Just going to let it sit for just a second here to make sure that glue is set up. Okay, and then we're just going to fold it in half, and I'm going to fold it with the flap on the inside, but you could do it either way, whichever way you prefer. So we have this writing in the corner. This is probably maybe a law firm. I'm not really sure. I don't really mind that on there, actually. We could embrace that and put a stamp on it or something, and maybe I will do that. But I just want to decorate the front of it here too. We'll get to that in just a second. So to make this into a little accordion packet, what I'm going to do is just run glue only down the middle here of the one side. And it's just a fairly thin squiggly line is what I'm using. You could also use the swipe of your glue stick. That would be fine. But you don't want to put glue on the whole thing. You only want to run it down the middle. And then we're going to go ahead and glue that closed. And I'm sure you guys have seen these before. They're kind of cool. They're cute and useful. So now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut the top off of both of them together as neatly as I can here. And so what we have now is this little accordion packet that opens like this. And you can use it to store ephemera in, or you could glue it into a journal and have it be like a little double pocket. That could be pulled up like this. If I glued it into a journal, I would only run the glue just down the middle here too, and maybe along the bottom to glue it in so that it would pull out and you would be able to get into that second pocket easily. Okay. You can also just leave it freeform and stick it into a pocket, or you could clip it onto the top of a book page. Lots of ideas there. Okay. So I'm going to get some papers and we'll just decorate that front a little bit. This one is kind of catching my eye because of the colors, because it kind of goes with the envelope, so I think I want to use that. And I'm just going to tear a piece to put in this area here. I'd like to keep a little bit of that pink just because it's interesting. And then we'll go to about here maybe. Trying to make it fairly straight. I'm not too worried if it's not perfect. I'm going to tear off the top here. Like that. And then I'll just do something else over here. So we just need to tear this down here. It's a pretty, pretty pattern. This is one of Rachel's digitals from her shop, Roxy Creations, and I will put the link below to her shop. Try to give her credit because this is also her idea. She has this weekly series called Weekly Challenge, and it's really fun to try these things out. She always has an interesting twist on familiar things. Let me just grab a book, a glue book. I'll get some glue on there. So yesterday afternoon, I went to Grand Rapids with a couple of my girlfriends to see a musical called Menopause, the Musical, Part 2, which was kind of just silly and cheesy, but really fun. We really had a good time. Mostly they sing song parodies where they change the lyrics to, to be about things like incontinence and stuff, which sounds ridiculous, but it was a huge hall full of ladies of a certain age. We did see about 5 men in there, but mostly it was ladies, and it was a lot of fun. All right, I'm feeling like I want to put a little bit of book page down in here, so I'm just gonna kind of want that straight. Let me see how tall I want it. Kind of right about where it says medicinally there. Just to fill that in a little bit. Like that. And then we'll dig out a stamp here and put that on, and I think that will be good enough for the front. Okay. All right, cute. Now let's find a stamp here. They're in this little box here. Excuse my arm there. And I have my stamps arranged by color, just because that's all I really look at when I pick one. I don't care that much about what the subject matter is. I feel like I want something a little bit bigger. This is kind of pretty with all the flowers, but it kind of gets lost on there. Let's see, there's one that's a little bit bigger. Yeah, I like that. I'm just going to put it on there. Maybe I'll put it up there like that, kind of at an angle. I like that. Oh. Right. Okay, now that could just be done, really. If you wanted to put it in a book, this would be great space to write. And we could put a little something on there to embellish it a little bit. Let's add a butterfly, because a butterfly is always appropriate, right? Just a butterfly down there. And then the other thing you can do is add some way to close it. If you're going to put a lot of small things in there that could fall out, then you're going to want to have some way to close it. And there's a lot of things we could do here. I think what I'll do for this one, just for ease, is tie a ribbon around it this way. So then if you glued it into a book, you could just glue it with the ribbon behind it, and then it's in the book. You just untie the ribbon and pull it to open it up. So I think that's a cute idea. I'll just cut this nice and long so we have plenty. I have a whole spool of this. I found at an antique store. It's really thin, kind of like silk ribbon. It's not silk, but I love it. And the color is nice for me too. It matches a lot of the things that I do. So, okay. All right. So we're just going to tie that and call that one good, okay? Wonky bow. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. I'll retie it later. You don't need to watch me do that. Okay. All right. Now, here's another one. This is an envelope I actually just got in the mail yesterday from AAA. I do not have AAA insurance. This was a solicitation. And I liked this window that's on here. And I thought if I folded this one in half, then you could see what was inside the pocket, which I think is a clever idea. So this one, I'm sure you guys have seen videos where you cover up an envelope to cover up the words and the white and everything. So I'm just going to do that off camera and then I'll come back. But what I'm going to do is just kind of cover up the white stuff. And I'm not going to worry about this side except for just the words. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to see a whole lot of that. And I'm also going to put something inside the envelope on the side opposite of the window so that when you take everything out of the pocket, you still see something pretty through the window. Okay, so I'll be right back with that. Ta-da! All right, here's my envelope. You can see where the window is, and you can see that pretty paper on the inside, which is also from Roxy Creations. I also used some of her scraps. This, I think, is from one of her Victorian kits, this little label, and this brown paper. And the papers that I put on the open end of the envelope, I did wrap around to the other side so that they are holding it closed where I originally opened it, you know, with the letter opener. So, okay. So I also cut the tops off. And one thing I'll remind you, because I almost forgot when I was doing this, be mindful of that both of the ends are going to be at the top. So if you put any words on there that you want to be in the right direction, you're going to want to make sure that you put those on correctly. All right, so I'm going to fold this in half. And this is a rather thick thing because it's got several layers of paper. It's got the envelope, it's got the liner that I put in, it's got paper on both sides here, so it's rather thick. So this one I would probably use more just for an ephemera folder rather than something to put in a book, but that's up to you. Okay, so let's do the same thing with the glue down the center here. I just thought if you were going to keep ephemera in there, it would be kind of cute because you could kind of see it. You could see what was in there. I'll show you that here in just a second. Okay, so it's not dry all the way, but that's how that's going to be. Okay, all right. And it's not particularly pretty on the inside there, but it is if you look at it this way. So, okay. All right. Yeah, so let me just stick something in there so you can see it a little. It's kind of hard to tell where the window is. You can see that cream colored book page there now when I slide it in here and here. All right. And then this one, I think to keep it closed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little tab to the front and the back, and then just tie a ribbon through those. Okay, see how that is? All right, so I think what I'm going to use is my circle punch, and I'm just going to make punch out 4 circles to make the tabs. Let's find some scraps here. Actually, let's just use, this is glue book paper, and it's as good as anything. We may as well use it up. So, and I like the looks of it, so. Except that my punch is all jammed up with other stuff. There we go. No, I'm going to have to empty it. I'll be right back. There. There we go. So we'll do that. And here. We've got 4 little tabs. And you know what? Let's make them a little bit sturdy since we're going to tie through them. So we'll do 3 layers. Sorry, a little violent there. All right. So we'll just glue, 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 glue. Can match them up really good that way. Then I'm just going to add 1 more layer on the inside here. Cardstock would work good for this too. Instead of doing all these layers, you could just use a couple layers of cardstock, and that would be a nice sturdy tab too. All right, and we're just going to punch a hole right in the middle there. Let's use this guy. That's a lot of layers to go through. Okay. We won't do all of them at once. Looks like I actually, that's weird, the back one came out. I think I actually bent my punch. I squeezed it so hard. There we go. And that one is in there, but not. Yeah, that one's good. Okay. It's a little torn. Let's try it again. Here we go. Okay. Then we can just loop a little bit of string through there. Let me grab just some string. I think would be cute on that. Just tie it, and then things that are in there will stay put, not run away. There. Okay, cute. Uneven but cute. Here, let's just even up that string. There's that one. Okay, now I have a variation of this one to show you before I make another. Okay, so this one is also got a window in it, but this one I made out of just 3 smaller envelopes. So when I go to the thrift store, lots of times I'll find boxes of like invitations and stuff. For example, a lot of people wouldn't buy this, but these were like little thank you cards from a funeral, like sympathy, thank you for your gesture or whatever. So I like the paper, I like the deckled edge. If I were going to use this, I would just put something over it. And then there's also all these nice smaller envelopes in here. They're all really useful, so it's something to pick up if you see it. That was 99 cents. So I took 3 envelopes and I glued them together down the center and also across the back. So what we have here is 3 on this accordion instead of 2. And then I lined the front envelope and tore out an opening and glued in some acetate to make the window on this one. So I actually created that window, but I thought that was very cute also. And I did decorate the back a little bit. So this would be one you could put in a pocket or clip into the book, or whatever, or you could just leave it out and put things inside of it, but there's a variation on that one. Okay, let me set those aside. Now, the next one I'm going to make is with a piece of paper rolled into a tube or made into a long like a tube. All right, so let me grab the paper. Okay. I want to use a couple of Rachel's papers. So I've chosen these two. They can kind of go either direction, which is why I thought they would be okay. All right, and I'm just going to trim these to size. I'm going to take all the white edges off, and I'll speed this up. All right, now we're going to glue both of these into a tube like I did on the previous video. And the reason I'm doing it that way, hope I missed, oh, that's on there. Okay, sorry. Is because then after the tube is made, I can decide where I want the seam to be and kind of decide by the way that the it looks, how I like it. So I'm going to put a little glue along this edge here. And again, what we're doing here is just creating, we're kind of creating the envelope with the ends cut off, basically, a long tube. Okay. And I want these to be the same width, so I'm going to overlap them the same amount by about 1/4 of an inch there. So I'm just using the lines on my grid, on my my cutting mat to make sure that I get that lined up straight. It's pretty good. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with this one. If you didn't watch the last video, I will show you, after I get this tube done, I'll show you what I mean about deciding where I want to fold it. If you don't care, then you can just fold it and glue it. All right. But because this is a tube, I could choose to fold it right here and have that be the front, or I could fold it here and have that be the front, or here, wherever I like. I have some freedom to choose. And I did kind of like to see these flowers and a little bit of that yellow pattern. So that's where I'm going to fold this one. Now, the thing about this paper too, I'll just say, I didn't print anything on the other side. So the inside is just white. And if you don't like that, you can print something on the back before you do this. Or you can just glue a little bit of paper in there along the top if you want to. I'm not going to worry about it because I don't care that much if it's white. All right, let's see where we want to do this one. I also like that with the blue down the side. But I could fold it right on the seam and not have the blue at all. Could move it over this way. Could move it over this way and pick up more of the blue. But I think I liked it as I did the other one with just that little stripe of blue along the side. I think that looks really pretty. Let's use this guy. Okay, so I'm going to fold these both in half. And I'm going to go ahead and make each one into an accordion. So I'm going to put glue down the center here and glue it shut. Okay. All right. And now I have some choices here. I can see a little bit of that at the top, but let's trim that off just a smidge. Just seeing that back layer, I didn't fold it perfectly. Okay, so you could just layer the two, one on top of the other, run some glue down here, put it on there, and then we would have 4 little envelopes all accordion together, okay? But I had another thought for this, and what I'm going to do is, instead of gluing them together, I'm going to add a piece of paper at the top here, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm just going to take this green because I have it right here and it's easy, and I'm going to tear it to just short of the width of the envelope. Okay. And now I'm going to take this, and you can make it as long as you want. It doesn't really matter. It's your choice. I'm going to cut it about this long, just for the heck of it. This is pretty thin paper, but you can use whatever you want. I'm going to fold this in half. Okay, my idea is here that what I'm going to do is insert this into the top of this back one and glue it, and then do the same thing on the other side, and then these can fold over the top of a page. I thought that was kind of a fun little different way to do it. Boy, I kind of really want that on the front, so I think I'm going to put my glue right along here, just a little bit, and you could make this hang down as long as you wanted. I didn't make this paper very long, but it could be as long as you would like. Just slipping it in there and pressing it down, trying to make sure so I have that fold straight on there. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. So we'll put our glue on this side. It's going to go on the back here, right inside here. And then I'm just going to want to kind of match them up just because that's how I want it. So they're about the same length. Okay. All right. So now we have two little accordions. Let me grab my glue book here just to show you. So if I was going to put this in the book, I would just wrap it over a page like that. So then on this, and you could put a clip on there or whatever. So then on this side you have a little accordion pull out. And then when you flip the page, you also have one over here. So that's my next little variation. And I would do a little bit more decorating on these two. But I'm going to move on for now, okay? And show you one more thing. This little one that I pre-made, I also used the tubes. I used the same, the red paper. It's just coffee dyed red paper. And I just put the 4 together, one inside the other, and folded them. All I did a little different here was I just staggered the edges, so you kind of see all 4 layers when you're looking from the front. I thought that one was really cute. And then for this one, I glued a little bit of reinforcement on, punched a hole on the front one and on the back one. And then if you look down inside, I just ran a ribbon through that hole and glued it down there. So that comes out the hole, and you can tie it right at the top. All right. So I'm going to turn the camera off, just decorate that one I just made, and then I'll show you all 4. So I'll be right back. All right, here I am with all 5 of these little projects all done. The first one was this one we made out of the folded law envelope. And I did come back in and just punch a thumb notch across the whole top there. It makes it easier to tie the bow, and makes it stay in place a little bit better. The other thing you could do with this one is, if you wanted that bow to stay in place a little bit better, you could just glue a piece of paper like to make like a little casing that the ribbon would run through, and then it would stay on there. You could still untie it, but it would stay with the packet. This was the one we made with the folded window envelope, and I just think that one turned out really cute. Here's the one I made out of the 3 smaller envelopes. Just opens up there, and this one is great for journaling on the back. This was the little red one that I made out of the 2 red paper tubes that I folded and just made so that they staggered a little bit at the top instead of being flush. And then this is the last one we did that I've finished off, just decorated a little bit. I have a couple labels on here that are from Love Junk Journals. I'll put the link to that one below as well. Added some butterflies, added the little labels and paper at the top and the bottom. And then this is the one that goes over a page and has a little accordion storage packet on both sides. So thanks for joining me today for this little project. It was a lot of fun, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.